Yeah, come vibe again.
I don't
know, yes, sir. I
don't know, yes, sir.
Don't know, yes, sir. On
Video no masa, ni video no.
Jadi bebrebe ya odi akọ. Yeah. Me sir. Anya mi there.
Anya dia, onya na usuka no. Huh? Police officer, who you say? Huh? Police officer, who you say? Let me stop that. Policeman, let me stop that. Huh? Let me stop that. Policeman. Huh? Anya dia, one usuka no. Anya usuka no. Huh? Policeman. As a police officer, policeman. Masa, moto no. Sorry, you have call.
Hello, Agman. Can an accident or no money near upon an accident? Move ahead. Police. Bame. It's bad go, huh? Happy you. Okay.
That's a video from the Volta region after police officer Sergeant Luchu Agbeko was arrested on Tuesday for possessing substances suspected to be Indian hemp. The officer, who is stationed at the formed police unit in Accra, refused to stop at a police barrier and have a Volta region when he was signaled by officers on duty. As a result, the officers on duty pursued the suspect, who was later involved in a crash at the Privet Mountain. 84 parcels of compressed dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp were retrieved from his car. We can now get onto Zoom and speak with Dr. Jones Opokuwari, who is a criminologist and lecturer at the Sociology Department of KNUST. I'm grateful for your time, Doc, this afternoon. Let me pick your preliminary reactions to a policeman caught in possession of narcotics.
Well, thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to you, Aisha, and also to all your viewers. I think in the first instance, what I want to say is that it's quite worrying, and it's an action that is very reprehensible. And for me, it shows the kind of indiscipline that some people within the police service, have over the years been exhibiting, which they have used the institution of the police as a way to protect them, as a facade to protect some of the criminal acts that they engage in. So it is a very reprehensible act. It is something that all well-meaning Ghanaians must actually stand up for and speak against. All over the world, the police as an institution is considered a moral institution. A moral institution in the sense that every member of society is deemed to be a likely deviant. And therefore, the institution of police is the one that is supposed to put members of the society in terms of correcting them and making them to behave in a way that is morally upright. So if you have members of the police who are supposed to be morally upright and ensure that the law is adhered to and people do what is right, they themselves getting involved in some of these criminal acts, then it is something that all of us will have to be very worried about.
Recently, we've had to blame the police for various degrees of errors. I mean, the recent being the interdiction of some senior police officers for unprofessionalism. What is wrong with our recruitment system, Doc?
Yeah, what is wrong is that we have allowed the police recruitment process to be tampered with by people who have no business, getting into it. For instance, we have all sort of politicians and interested group of people who seems to, use the police as an institution to protect their power and also to use members of the police service to protect some interest that they have. And that is why they go all length to make sure that they get their guys in there so that those guys in there will be able to protect those interests that they have. At the end, what happens is that instead of having very good people, very, well-refined people who have passion for the job, who understands what it means to be a police, in the service, we have all these kind of crooks and people with very bad backgrounds and people with certain questionable character and integrity getting into such a moral institution that is supposed to ensure that law and order is maintained within the society. So it is actually a reflection of the bad, recruitment practices that has been, put in place over the years by the police administration and also tampered with by certain political and other, interest groups that is producing the kind of policing we are seeing now.
What should be the ideal situation, if I may ask?
Yeah, the ideal situation is that, look, we should allow the police as an institution to refine their whole recruitment process so that people who get into the security service, especially the police, are people of very good background and, with very good character. The system should be such that before you get into the service, you must have undergone certain refined and, very refined process. That will be able to refine the individual to understand the kind of job the person is supposed to do. And the necessary background checks well done to ensure that we don't find anybody who thinks that he needs just a job, who thinks that, look, he just wants to find himself or herself in an institution that can help me to perpetrate his interest. Look, I have talked to a number of people within the service, even including other security agencies, where they will tell you that, look, for them, they want to join the police. Some even say we want to join the immigration service because we want to do car business. Some people say we want to join the police because, we want to be able to settle certain scores. That is not a mentality that anybody should encourage, especially if the person wants to work as a law enforcement officer. So for me, the process needs to be refined, where it is independent of these political actors, and then we make it more professional and more refined. We can start from the universities, where people who have learned, look, I teach criminology in the university, and when I look at my students, I see the passion with which many of them want to work as police people. But then the issue is, these kind of people, based on the knowledge they've gotten, all the knowledge that they've gotten, when they finish school, would they be allowed to get into the police or the security agencies? I mean, the answer we all know is probably a no, because many of them might not even have the political connections to get in. If you have a structure like that, it is quite problematic. So it is no wonder we are seeing what we are seeing.
Well, the two officers who arrested their colleague for the possession of Indian hemp have been promoted. Let me share with you details of a police statement announcing their promotion. And it says the police administration has promoted two officers, Inspector Azuma Komla Justice and Felix Diame, for their role in effecting the arrest of the Sergeant Lochu Agbeko, a police officer stationed at the formed police unit in Accra. The suspect, Lochu Agbeko, failed to stop at the police barrier when he was signaled by the officers on duty to do so. He was therefore giving a chase, and on reaching a section of the road on the Kweve Mountain, he was involved in an accident and had a fracture on his left hand. He was arrested and sent to the hospital for treatment, and he has since been transferred to the police hospital for further medical attention, where he is under guard. Now, the police retrieved 84 parcels of compressed dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp from his car. The exhibits have been retained and investigation continues. The suspect will be put before the court as soon as he is discharged from the hospital. We commend the driver who availed his vehicle to the police to chase and arrest the suspect. We once again commend the police officer for their patriotism, vigilance, and dedication to duty. Well, Dr. Jones Opokowari, if you're still there, there are many who are worried that, yes, they are promoting these two officers, but putting their details out is not good in terms of security. Do you feel same?
Well, I'm thinking that in terms of the officers involved, we could have probably hid their identity and probably told the members of the public about the fact that those officers who effected the arrest may have been promoted. I mean, I don't see how others will begin to look at those guys. But trust me, we must commend, those two police officers for the kind of bravery and patriotism that they exhibited. I mean, these are guys within the police, even though we still have certain structural constraints and issues with the way the police function, they are still very good guys who understand their job, who understand what it means to be a policeman and to maintain law and order, irrespective of who is involved. And on that basis, I think that, look, giving them all the accolades and putting out their names out should be able to serve as some form of motivation to other officers within the service. That, look, when you are able to do good and ensure that you do your work well, the institution of the police service is likely to reward you and to give you all the kind of praise. And even in the public eye, you are more likely to see more favorable rating from the public. And for me, to that extent, there's nothing really wrong. What I'm only praying about is that members of the police service themselves will not begin to target these people for standing out for what is right.
I'm grateful for your time, Dr. Jones Opokowar. He's a criminologist and lecturer at the Sociology Department of KNUST. Let's move to Parliament, where government decided it was no longer going to collect road tolls. Hundreds of employees who buttered their bread doing that job were promised adequate compensation, but months down the line, their salary arrears and severance has not been paid. A few weeks ago, the workers, some of whom are persons with a disability, besieged the Roads and Highways Ministry demanding payment. Speaking to Joineys, ranking member on Roads and Highways Committee governs Kwame Agboja took on the finance minister for turning a blind eye to the concerns of these former road toll collectors.
I checked, they attempted to continuing to pay the disabled people. I don't know if that's still ongoing, but it wasn't only disabled people who were working on in the toll booths, because the toll booths are not only on Accra to Motorway, they are all over the country. The finance minister appeared in the House and said nobody will go home, and he made a blanket statement. The truth is that almost everybody is gone home, and they are not paying them, because that 78 million Ghana cedi, which they claim is not enough money. For me, it's enough money. And then minority was ready to support government to increase the road tolls, and we are honest about it. I say that if I drive Land Cruiser and then government asks me to pay 3 cedi or 4 cedi, whatever, to cross the motorway, I don't think Ghanaians are going to be crying for me, because if you can afford that kind of vehicle, you can bet. I will be interested in knowing that that impact does not hit the trotro or the Uber driver more. But they decided not to take up that option. And today, you see the state of the toll booths across the country. They are getting dilapidated, they are getting vandalized, they are causing accidents and other things, and people are at home working. The finance minister wears a white shirt, speaks, and every statement in Parliament starting with a Bible quotation, and lies about it. Today, he told us none of those people will lose their job. The truth is that the God you and I serve, and the God he serves, is aware that he's not paying them. The people are home, they are jobless. So what can we do about it? We've done everything. In fact, you saw Speaker direct that the toll booths should be reactivated. They insulted him in various ways. There are senior people in that party, and they've just ignored him. So there's a limit to what we can do as an opposition party. We need to raise the issues and demand that government respect the laws and bring them there. So I sympathize with those people who are home.
Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante joins me with more from Parliament. Kweku, what more are the minority willing to do to get these former workers paid?
So Aisha, tomorrow the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is scheduled to answer questions on how much government has spent on COVID expenditure. The minority is set to make such a big push with some of these issues. You know, in the past 2-3 weeks, the minority have been praying the majority side to try and get the finance minister to come to Parliament and answer a myriad of questions. They've not been successful, but tomorrow they have a fair shot at that. And so we are expecting that tomorrow, Kwame Agboja himself, who is the ranking on the Roads and Transport Committee, will raise these issues and ensure that the finance minister answers some of these questions. And so that is the kind of commitment they are making. Already the committee has been having hearings to try and find some solution for these unpaid workers. They've not had so much of a success. And so tomorrow will be one good time to ask the finance minister directly when he is making such payments. Aisha.
So, Kweku, you've also been probing the Tamale International Airport controversy and claims that it was the idea of the Eswell Mahama administration. Tell us more.
So this week, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was in the northern part of the country, and he visited the Tamale International Airport, which is under construction. It has since become a political football game between the NPP and NDC, with both parties claiming that the idea or the infrastructure project is to their credits. The NPP has laid claim to it. The NDC is also laying claim. According to Kwame Agboja, the NPP government has done nothing about the project, and it's actually the ex-John Mahama administration that found the funds and passed the agreement before the NPP came into office. And so the NPP cannot lay claim to that project. Let's listen to Kwame Abuja.
Somewhere after the government changed, the developer decided to change the lender, which they could have done that without coming to Parliament, but our constitution does not allow them to do that because it's an international transaction. So they came to Parliament. So when you look at what we said at the Finance Committee and everything, so the Road and Transport Committee had little to do with it because they were only changing the financing. So I remember my good friend, Dr. Asibe Yeboah, was in charge and repeated why we needed to do that. So he changed it. So, and there's nothing wrong if the Vice President Bawumia visits site when he's in the area. That is appropriate to encourage the contractors and ask them questions. But an attempt to pretend that this was anything to do with NPP, they decided to do this project. I mean, I think the Vice President has come to a point where he needed to be considerate about his own reputation and not to just jump to think that he can take credit for where it's not due. If he says that, oh yes, the truth is that where this project was here before we came, the lender decided to, the developer changed the lender, that would have been stating the fact. But any attempt to say it's the vision of President Kufuor everything, it's a total lie, and we shouldn't be going there at all.
Right. Some would say that you passed the agreement in 2016. Yes. Was just at the twilight of the administration and you left. Yes. And then this government came, they probably had to follow up to try and get the money and other things before these agreements changed. And so simply because you passed the agreement does not mean that you can lay claim to that.
Every project has got a gestation period, especially when it's a 10-key project. It's anything between 6 months and 1 year. In fact, recently we passed an agreement to build some hospitals, Yenswano and other things, under the same government. Just recently, they have to come back to Parliament to change the lender.
You heard there Kwekwa Asante speaking with ranking member on the Roads and Highways Committee of Parliament. Now, as rehabilitation works on one of Ghana's busiest roads continue, commuters are not only complaining about long hours in traffic, but are pushing for the work to be done at night. Some are also unhappy about indiscipline on the Accra-Tema motorway. My colleague Samuel Kojobre spent the whole day Tuesday on that stretch and has filed this report.
John, an entrepreneur who was due for a meeting in Tema, tells me he had never experienced such traffic as he did today on the motorway.
I've been using this road for a long time, but I've never experienced this before. I don't know what is happening ahead of us. Almost 1 hour. Just here, yes, almost an hour. I had to use my Google map. Okay. That gave me the estimated time about 25 minutes before I get to where I'm going. Okay. And I have to be there before 11, and now it's 11:20. Wow. So you can imagine.
Maxwell, on the other hand, is a public servant who had been delayed for a meeting because he had spent over an hour in the traffic. He expressed frustration at the situation.
I've been in traffic for about an hour plus. You know, I'm also I'm a public servant. I'm going to work. I have a meeting somewhere to attend. And I've been in this traffic for an hour, more than an hour now. Wow. Yes, and it's very bad and very irritating. So this thing is not going to be like something for a few days. What we are seeing currently, if you look at it, it's going to take years. You know, when you have things that are not being planned well in the country, these are some of the things that you see.
But in the midst of all the traffic, some drivers were exploring means to avoid the traffic. So some drivers had learned to use alternative route through Ashaiman so as to cut down the minutes they spend in traffic. Danso is one of such drivers. He tells me it is better for him to use that stretch.
Traffic near more from Tobut out to this side and Kokra to make a far Shamai inside.
In all of this, some commuters believed if the work had been done in the night, it would have been more useful. Stephen is one of such.
It is inconveniencing Ghanaians. And I think, you know, it's a good thing they are doing. But they should do it in the night. Because the traffic here is too much. It's too much.
Justice, who had stayed in the traffic for more than an hour, expressed frustration at the work being done.
The traffic is very bad. We've been here like for almost 3 hours. Why? For 3 hours? Yeah. It's very bad. It's very bad. At least they have to do it. This is why they have to work like day and night, you know. Because in America, they work day and night. Only in Ghana, only in Africa. It's very bad. No, they have to do something about it.
From the Tema Motorway, for Joy News, I am Samuel Kojo Brace.
Meanwhile, supervising engineer Aaron Anampon is assuring that the bridge will be open to traffic by next week, Monday.
Thank you very much. You started this work yesterday, yes. Where are we now?
Yeah, we are on the form. We are now fixing the formwork. Yes, yesterday we were able to do a 24-hour braking, and we've been able to finish, and we are now doing the formwork. And we are praying that by tomorrow, 6 o'clock a.m., we should be done with the formwork. Then the setting of the rail enforcement bars will begin. So if everything goes on well, in the next 48 hours, you will prepare for the concrete.
What exactly are you doing?
Yeah, there was a defective. The decks or the bridge here have a lot of defect on the decks, and when we confirm it when we break the concrete, realize that most of the iron rods were rotten or were seriously corroded. So at the end of the day, what we have done is we are now going to change all the iron rods. We are going to change the iron rods, and the work was also in two phases. We were having the propping. If you look under, we have supported the bridge under with metals. It's called the stanchions, which is called the propping. That one was done in 7 days. Then the main work, which is also ongoing. That is what, now that we have done the propping, now we can contain any load that comes. So in this case, we have even increased the strength of the bridge.
We heard of bridges, but since I came, I've seen just this one. Are you working on all the bridges or just this one?
No, it's just, you see, Motorway is having 3 bridges. And out of the 3, it's only this one. Even here, it is on the Accra bound that is having problem. So where we are working on now is the Lakwakwa Bridge, which have a serious defect. So it's only one bridge. It's not the 3 bridges.
Okay. So this one, with my knowledge of concrete, when you do it, it will have to heal, and it takes a number of days. So how many days exactly are we looking at opening this to traffic?
Yeah, after the casting, we have some adhesives that we will add to this concrete that is going to speed it up to be able to achieve the compressive strength of the concrete. So, and like everybody knows that it's 21 days, 21 days, 21 days. But we will do it in 72 hours. In 3 days' time, we'll be able to open the bridge with the inclusion of the adhesives.
So hopefully by weekend or next Monday, it should be opened.
That is our hope, that with a good weather, we will open the bridge.
The World Elder Abuse Awareness Day is marked on 15 June every year. That was initiated by the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse in 2006. According to the WHO, it estimates 1 in 6 people over 60 years of age suffers from abuse. That means nearly 141 million people globally are abused every year. This year, the day coincides with 2 important events. First, the start of the United Nations Decade of Healthy Aging, and second, the 20th milestone of the Second World Assembly on Aging. Professor Mavis Darko-Jeke is a director at the University of Ghana Center for Aging Studies. She joins me via Zoom for more. Prof, I'm grateful for your time this afternoon. What constitutes abuse against the aged in the Ghanaian context?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you and to your cherished listeners and viewers, and thank you for inviting me.
Hello, Prof. All right, so Professor Darko-Jeke, she is in charge of the Center for the Aged at the University of Ghana. We'll try and get her back and speak to this very important issue having to do with the elderly. But we'll take you to the Upper West region, where pupils of Balawa Day 8 Basic School are compelled to learn under a weak makeshift structure. There's no decent furniture in the school, and the pupils slam it on the bare floor, logs or stones. The classroom block has become a death trap with deep cracks weaving through the walls. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam has more from Wa.
Due to lack of basic school at Balawa, located at the outskirts of the West district, pupils in the predominant farming community hitherto walk several kilometers, sometimes crossing rivers to attend school. Community members are aware of the importance of education and concerned about the future of their pupils established the Balawa DA Basic School in the year 2012 with 12 pupils. The school was absorbed by the government 3 years later, and several trained teachers were posted to the school. A decade after its establishment, the school's enrollment figures has catapulted to 250 pupils, comprising of 150 boys and 100 girls, with the exception of a 3-unit classroom block which was constructed for them by Dutch philanthropist and retired Catholic missionary Brother Dick. There have not been any change at the school since its establishment. The brick classroom constructed by the community is now a death trap. There are cracks and gaping holes all over the walls. The pupils have outnumbered the classrooms, forcing them to hold classes under a weak makeshift structure that could easily be destroyed by any violent wind or rainstorm. What was this to coordinating director Crispin Jangu agrees the situation is an affront to conducive effective teaching and learning, with a pledge of reporting to the West District Chief Executive for action to be taken.
The situation is bad. As you see, this is not a good, conducive environment for teaching, effective teaching and learning. I have seen that, yes. Because at least apart from this particular 3-unit classroom block that you can talk of as something better, the rest are not in shape. So as I said, I have taken note and I'll present to the DCE maybe the next line of action will be taken.
Furthermore, there is no decent furniture in this school. Sitting on the bare sand, stones, wire boards, logs, and broken pieces of cement blocks is the order here during instructional periods. The pupils told me off camera the severe waist pains they have developed as a result of the awkward sitting arrangement. Head teacher of the school, Daud Hussein Munyala, threw more light on their challenges.
Though there are no furniture in the school, people have to lie down on the ground in order to write and also to learn. Some sit on the wood, others sit on stones in order to learn. As we don't have place of convenience, sometimes if any of them is menstruating and they need to go and change, it becomes a problem. Others have to go into the bush, and others have to leave classes and go home because they cannot change themselves in the school.
Concerned about the plight of the pupils, members of the Balawa community mobilized themselves and constructed 30 benches for the school in order to ameliorate the suffering of the pupils. Crispin Jangu commended the Balawa community for the initiative.
Within our plans, as the District Director Education Representative indicated, our attention has been drawn that furniture is the critical issue as we have it now. And so we are also making plans to ensure, as part of our annual action plans and budgets, to procure some furniture for distribution district-wide. So, and I believe that once this situation has been mentioned, as I go to report to the DCE, I want to believe that if that furniture is provided, the community may also benefit.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam, Balawa.
We can go back to our conversation on the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day and speak with Professor Dako Jeke, who is in charge of the Center for the Aged at the University of Ghana. You were earlier telling me what constitutes abuse against the aged in the Ghanaian context. Hello, Prof.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was speaking about the fact that elder abuse is a global concern that has negative outcomes for older persons globally, including Ghana.
So if we talk about abuse against the aged, I mean, for you, what does that mean?
For me, it means that actions or activities or inactivities that we engage in, that we met against older persons, that is 60 years and above, that has negative effects on their livelihood. So it could take various forms. It could be physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse, and all kinds of abuse that has negative repercussions on their well-being.
141 million people globally are abused every year, so we are told. What's the situation in Africa and Ghana, to be precise?
Of course, when you look at the data, we have scarce data on Ghana, but then globally it's talked about the fact that when WHO reports, 1 out of 6 people, elder people, are abused. So when it comes to data, we don't have it because it's very scarce. People do not always report about the abuse. It only comes to limelight when media take it and report it. So that is how it comes to the limelight. So to say there's a specific number, I don't have it. But what I would say that WHO reports that 1 out of 6 older people are abused globally.
You indicated earlier how important it is to talk about care for the aged. How can we as a country show more care and respect for the aged?
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, there are people who have contributed to the development of the nation when they were stronger than their best. But so then going back, we have to take care of them, ensure that they have what it takes to be happy in life. Some of them live in poverty. We have to ensure that they are given enough money. And we cannot say that we are going by what is done elsewhere in terms of the welfare of the elderly, where the state comes in, where older persons are sent to institutional care and they get support. We are here in our families, and we always pride ourselves that we have a communal way of living where we take care of our own. So I would say that we all have to make sure that in our individual homes, we take care of our older persons and ensure that they are catered for, because we have an adage that says that when they help you grow your teeth, you also help them as they lose their teeth. So when we talk about families, individuals, families come together to make a community, and the communities come together to make a nation. So I'm thinking that we have to take it upon ourselves that older persons in our families are our responsibility to take care of them.
Specific area or need that needs to be focused on when it comes to care for the aged? What has your research shown?
In terms of taking care of them, we realize that they are most often not engaged in social activities. So then we think that they are older, they don't have anything to contribute. But then we also turn around and say that older persons are wise. So then they might not be able to engage in activities with all forms of their areas of development. They might have mobility impairments, but we wouldn't say that their brains are also not functioning. So then we may consult them on issues where they are more experienced. We also talk about the aging bill that has not been passed, because once the aging bill gets passed, then we know that we have this instrument that guides the activities that go on. And then therefore we have an LI that will also clearly indicate different institutions and their responsibilities towards the elderly. So we want to make sure that, of course, we have the LEAP that covers some of them. We have the National Health Insurance that also covers some of them. But in terms of coverage, make sure that they are all included in there. We want to talk about issues when it comes to something like witches camp where women are abused. We want to look at that area as well. Their finances, we also want to look at that because sometimes people have to come in and help them when it comes to their finances to ensure that they are not taken advantage of. So their health concerns, we talk about Kolebu that has a geriatric center, which is a small place. So then if we could have a bigger place where they can call their own, that they can go when they have medical issues, those could also be helped. And also, we also see them on the roads.
I'm grateful for your time. Professor Mavis Jeke is in charge of the Center for the Aged at the University of Ghana. Let's take a break on Joy News today. When we return, there's the very latest coming from the world of business.
Good afternoon, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Over 2 million cedis is being paid to shareholders of Amenfiman Rural Bank as dividend for the 2021 financial year, representing a 30% return on investment, with each share attracting a 6 peso dividend. It comes after the expiration of the directive by the Bank of Ghana for deposit-taking institutions to halt payment of dividends in two financial years due to the impact of COVID-19. Nanaya Jima was at the annual general meeting of the bank and filed this report.
Amenfiman Rural Bank recorded profit before tax of 10.1 million cedis in the year under review, a marginal dip from 11.5 million cedis posted in 2020. The proceeds of customers grew by 10.4% from 363.6 million cedis in 2020 to 401.7 million cedis. In closing the 2021 financial year, total assets of the bank grew by 12.6%, driven mainly by a 43.9% increase in loans and advances to support the agriculture and SME sectors of the economy. With stated capital of 6.7 million cedis, managers of the bank assured they are sufficiently capitalized to make profit. Chief Executive Officer Dr. Alexander Asma says more will be done to ensure profitability.
Having been able to overcome the challenges of the COVID and having been able to come this far with all the restrictions on us being relaxed, we can assure you that we continue to work so hard to protect your investment and give you much higher returns as we move on. We want to assure you, as the leading rural bank, that continue to invest in us, because once you invest in us, your investment is safe. In addition to that, your returns are always assured.
Management of the bank says prudent strategies had to be adopted to keep the bank afloat despite economic challenges. Board Chair Dr. Tony Oben explains.
The difference between the rural bank and maybe the high street bank is that we are very close to our customers. So we know their challenges. So when we know their family members, so if you came for credit, we knew we'll follow you and know what you're doing. So we are a very friendly bank, we're a very active bank, and we think ahead. And you know that it has reflected in various awards that we have received.
Meanwhile, in helping drive the government's agenda to create jobs through entrepreneurship, the bank is helping build capacities of customers to start and maintain businesses. Dr. Alexander Asma says the necessary funding will be granted the businesses to be established through training.
So we are empowering the people, our customers and people in our communities to create what we call multiple stream of income. You should be able to not only rely on your salary, but you should be able to take money from the bank, invest it in another project, and be able to generate some money. So you get some here, you get some here, and together we build the economy. So we are carefully empowering people that will be able to help us to do that.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
Now, following government's aim to strengthen STEM education and restructure the educational system to equip learners acquire skills to be fit for purpose, the Study in India Expo is bent on complementing the country's efforts. According to founder of the Pereira African Foundation, Salai Manikam, the knowledge and capacities of young people should be developed through proper education. She spoke to Joy Business at the Study in India Expo.
Ghana's STEM agenda is to prepare the critical mass of empowered Ghanaians for socio-economic transformation and become active participants in the fourth industrial revolution. According to Salai Manikam, there's the need for human resource development to provide the coaching needed to strengthen and grow the knowledge, skills, and abilities of students to take advantage of the advancement of technology globally.
I think Ghana is blessed with a lot of natural resources. I think now the human resource is what has to be developed to ably manage the natural resources, and this would contribute in a major way towards it. Bringing in the human resource required to manage it, and any field in India now, whether it is agriculture, engineering, or any basic commerce, you always have a IT component which is part of it. So any student goes for any faculty, comes back with the IT upgradation.
Co-executive director at the India-Africa Trade Council, Nilash G, says if Ghana invests in its young ones, the country's industrialization strategy will be sustainable and provide more jobs for the youth.
Well, what India has learnt many years back is to put industries in place, to get technology in place, and to get the correct formulations in place. I'm sure Ghana is also developing, and our government is putting good initiatives in place, so definitely it could be a good opportunity for everybody in the future. By setting up industries here, by definitely setting up industries and doing the research and development here gradually, if you have good students coming, learning and coming from there, they can do a lot of R&D here also. In future, Ghana could become a hub in Africa for pharmaceutical products. Not only pharmaceuticals, into industry, into trade, into a lot of other issues. So we are looking forward to Ghana being a superpower in Africa, definitely.
The Study in India offers a wide range of courses right from modern and cutting edge to niche and traditional. The academic edge gained through the program enables overall development and provides opportunities to foster global connections.
We'll have a full bulletin of business news at the top of the hour. Up next, sports.
That's how we wrap up the bulletin also this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news there and updates of all the developing stories. Enjoy the rest of our programs.